example, that kinetic energy from down to upward and kinetic energy for up to down is equal at point D at point D. So the gravitational force gravitational force gravitational force is a is a example of conservative force तो ये कौन सा है कंजर्वेटिव फोर्स है बिकॉज वी से दैट वी से force is conservative. तो suppose a object move upward and through back and comes back downward. तो at any point किसी point पे D point and D point this D point at any point the kinetic energy is same. Kinetic energy and potential energy is same. Or at the end of before touch the ground, at the end before touch the ground, the velocity, the initial velocity we put on body to through upward is same the velocity that gain after falling down from some height. And also the kinetic energies are also same. Suppose the kinetic energy is k1 is half mv. We starting from initial velocity to taking u square, and the other for the condition for down and with some velocity is m v1 square. The both are same kinetic energy same and their velocity is also same. So u1 equals to v1. Their condition for a conservative force. So here gravitation force is conservative. Or here the circle is also here the circular motion is also done. So it's also we here the circulation is also so the conservation is followed. Non-conservative force non-conservative force non-conservative force. If the amount of work done in moving an object against a force from a point to another point depends on the path. ये path पे depend होगा, depend on the path along which the object move, and the force applied on the body is known as, and the force apply is on body or object is known as non-conservative force. Non-conservative force. Okay, they are the definition for a conservative force. Example is a force of friction, viscosity are some example of conservative force. Now तो example हम लिख लेते हैं यहाँ पे. A frictional force और क्या है अपना दूसरा viscosity शायद आई भी आता है यहाँ पे, विस्कोसिटी, हाँ ओके, विस्कोसिटी, दे आर द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ नॉन कंजर्वेटिव फोर्स. सो तो अब न्यू टॉपिक आता है अपना पोटेंशियल एनर्जी रिलेशन विद कंजर्वेटिव फोर्स से क्या रिलेशन है पोटेंशियल एनर्जी की, ये हमारे पास अगला टॉपिक है. So potential energy is an energy associated with a configuration of a system in which a conservative force acts. So potential energy is defined, and in last lecture we have defined potential energy that the force acts on the body to do some work that work that works that gain against any force is known as potential. So suppose हम टेकिंग पोटेंशियल, तो हम सपोज करते हैं यहाँ पे स्फेरिकल चार्ज रखा है और देयर इज़ अ नेगेटिव चार्ज q, दे मूव्स फ्रॉम हेयर पॉइंट इन a to b. So potential is defined by u or b also, तो here we define denote by u. तो u equals to work done minus against this the electric field is radially outward. There is a positive charge here and a particle at a moves towards charge, positive charge. So some force we are acting on them. So work done by that force we are acting on that particle is defined as W minus W. Here minus is because we are going to against the force which are acting on a body. So or do work for a force acts on a body, so they have negative and starting from initial, suppose they have initial point, so xi is there and xf is there, so xi and xi and sf, and the force work done is defined as function of x and dt dx. So u equals to minus fi to f xf and force f equals to dx. So differentiate with respect to x, and the above equation is become now function d upon dx, and here the integration is gone. So here the fx is defined like minus sign of du upon dx. So hence potential energy is maybe also a function. So the negative sign negative gradient gives a force. The potential function gradient, here the potential function gradient give a force which are conservative or equals to the which are conservative, give a conservative force. They explain potential energy for a conservative force. कंजर्वेटिव फोर्स के लिए पोटेंशियल एनर्जी हम डिफाइन कर सकते हैं इससे इससे और अगर हम कंजर्वेटिव फोर्स की बात कर रहे हैं तो यहाँ पे हमने सबसे पहले पढ़ा ही है कि कंजर्वेटिव फोर्स कौन सा है. हमारे पास ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स है. तो देन ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स के लिए अगर हम डिफाइन करेंगे इसको, ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स आर कंजर्वेटिव. तो ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स के लिए तो हमारे पास हमें पता है यू की वैल्यू क्या होती है, एम जी एच, where g is a constant and m is also constant. mgh and h is a height from taking from the earth surface. So here we same thing do same thing here we do same thing. To d upon dx equals to here the differentiation. तो यहाँ पे डिफ्रेंशिएशन ऑफ एक्स की जगह यहाँ पे एच है, तो एच का डिफ्रेंशिएशन होगा तो यहाँ पे एम जी विद माइनस साइन, एम जी विद माइनस साइन. द नेगेटिव साइन ऑफ ए पोटेंशियल इज हेयर ऑल्सो, सो माइनस साइन. तो दिस इज फोर्स इक्वल्स टू एम जी एंड दिस नेगेटिव force equals to mg and this negative. Simply the negative gradient of potential of the potential energy is equal to the gravitational and force, gravitational force के इक्वल होगा. ओके देन तो so here we also calculating the kinetic energy by the Newton's. G is a constant and there is a constant. So by using Newton's equation, that v square equals to 0, v equals to u square equals to 2 g s. Here s equals to h, तो u equals to 0, तो 0 v square and 2 g s, and to v equals to under root 2 g s, and here s is h, तो 2 g h. तो it's also the तो here kinetic energy equals to half m v square मतलब 2 g h. तो is also m g h. Work done. Now next topic is conservation of mechanical energy. Conservation of mechanical energy. Conservation of mechanical energy.